This was the original video's opening shot. I wanted to convey the feeling of intimacy and hovering that a probe lens is typically used for. I don't have a probe lens, so I used a DJI Osmo Pocket 3 rigged onto a slider. This allowed the camera to hover over the cables. For set design, I aimed for busy workshop. I started by covering my kitchen island with a cutting mat and various cables in the foreground. I only had the budget for one major prop per scene, so this is an old oscilloscope on top of a blue curtain. But even with the oscilloscope, the background still felt a little empty. Looking back on the final shot, you'll see that I added this vague rectangular shape in the background. It's not much, but I think it's just enough to suggest another machine in this workshop. I also like how the light reflects off of it and almost creates this streak pointing to the product. This machine is actually just the front door of an air purifier. To use it, I spliced together 3 shots. The door was set up in different positions to suggest the shape of some sort of computer tower. The key light was a single panel rigged overhead. And there was a practical tube light behind the oscilloscope. And finally, there was a smaller tube light off to the right, which you don't see in the opening shot, but it is featured in other shots. Other than that opening shot, everything else was shot with a Fujifilm XS20 and Sigma 18-50 f2.8, which I had on a gimbal so that I could dial in the exact movement I wanted. The more dynamic motion-controlled shots required this Frankenstein gimbal and slider rig. I didn't have the parts for a proper rig, but this one did the job. To synchronize movement, I just had to time button presses on the gimbal and slider apps on 2 different phones. For the macro shots, the Sigma 18-50 was great because of its close minimum focus distance. The second set's main character was this grungy underlit translucent surface, which was actually my oven door. And the set's prop was an old vector scope rack unit. The key light was once again a panel rigged overhead. There was a tube light underneath as a practical accent. And another tube light in the rack unit. The VFX cleanup here involved blurring out the oven logo at the bottom right of the frame. The final set leaned heavily on a metallic theme. This was filmed on the side of my desk where I already had some audio rack units set up. The set build started with some doors for my shoe cabinet. The first door was clamped vertically along the far edge of my desk. Here you can see the use of a friction arm and a super clamp attached to a pole. That pole is a quick support rod normally used in construction projects. Clamped to the door is our trusty panel light. Before placing the next cabinet door, I laid a black shirt to hide the wooden texture of the desk and a tube light. Then, using another clamp on the pole and the tube light, I was able to place the second door.